Code so slick, circuit stay garbled. Encrypted hustle, no chains, no marbles. Faster than the rest, cost stays humble. Breaking through the game, watch others crumb. Nobody do it like this. Circuits in the mist, faster, cheaper, sharper, crypto alchemist. Others stuck in the lane, we flipping the twist. Gobble circuits, baby, we the future, don't miss. Others move slow, we quantum and speed. Blocks they can't touch, fulfilling the need. Chains bound tight, but we unshackled. While they debug, our code is tackled. What they can't do, we already done. Their game outdated, we just begun. Algorithms flex, they can't compete. Circuits garbled, but the vision concrete. Nobody do it like this. Circuits in the mist, faster, cheaper, sharper, crypto alchemist. Others stuck in the lane, we flipping the twist. Garble circuits, baby, we the future, don't miss.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 7 of COTI Confidential on this June 2nd, 2026. What's up, Soeren? How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going all right, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. You're cropped funny. There you go.
Yeah, I was just distracted trying to get my earphones to work.
I think everybody's going to
good.
appreciate that. I think everybody's going to appreciate that because we do get a lot of echoing from you from time to time. So
hopefully none of that now that I got these on.
Yeah, right on. So let's just get right into it, man. Here we go.
Yeah, there's been a million things. There's been, as usual, been a million things going on. So we got tons of stuff to talk about. So. Well, we'll start with a weekly update now, pivoted to the and rebranded to the confidential brief. So I wanted to touch a little bit upon the general market conditions, and I found something very interesting when I looked at that. So the amount of doom and capitulation on the timeline, both on X and in the Telegram group, is quite frankly off the charts, and it's not just us regular retail investors. There's a fair few calls that are throwing in the towel as well. One of the more prominent ones was David Hoffman of Trustless, who's a long-time stalwart of the Ethereum ecosystem, and he recently announced the sale of his remaining ETH, claiming that the ETH is money thesis had now played out. And I'll try and simplify as much as I can to keep things from not getting overly convoluted. The essence of his theory is, in reality, that ETH transaction fees have gone from somewhere as high as $50 a transaction to $0.50 a transaction. Therefore, valuing the platform on fees and revenue would lead you to the conclusion that there's quite a limited upside, if any at all, to the current ETH token price. In fact, you could argue there's more downside than upside if you subscribe to that. Now, what he's saying is basically layer 2s have been the main reason because they're competing on speed and transaction costs while paying no rent to their host Ethereum. So basically, layer 2s have cannibalized the revenue stream for Ethereum. Now, the way I'm stating it is a very gross simplification. And I would very, very strongly recommend that both this piece and the other piece that I'm going to refer to in a minute, that you read both of them, because they basically present two sides of the argument for Ethereum. One is quite bearish and one is super bullish. And basically, you got to understand the finer nuances, and I'll get back to why in a minute as well. So with all this capitulation everywhere, it's been quite difficult to find an opposing view, but I stumbled quite by chance on an article by Tom Dunleavy, formerly of Messari Crypto. He's now, I don't know if it's his own VC company he's operating, or whether he works for a VC company. But what's interesting with him is he takes a very different view on it. Yeah, he doesn't value ETH on the fees or the revenue. Fees are basically a friction and a number that trends towards zero in the case of Ethereum. He makes the argument that blockchain, being a new asset class, is mostly being misvalued simply because the markets haven't yet figured out how to value these types of assets correctly. So his thesis is not ETH is money, but rather ETH is security. Now, if you consider, as he does, if you consider Ethereum a vault, not a business, then the vault is where all the staked Ethereum is being locked away. Now, Ethereum today secure roughly $250 billion, and that's everything included. That's the entire TVL, including stable coins and all the good stuff. Whilst the value of the ETH that is staked is only 72 billion. And this is the main focus point of this argument, is that the lock that is securing Ethereum is currently valued at less than a third of what that lock protects. So what's inside the vault is 3 times more expensive than the lock that protects it. And assuming that the percentage of staked Ethereum stays around 30%, the fair value for ETH would be at least 3 times of what it is today, making the lock at least as valuable as what's in the vault. And we're not. You could also start to put in multiples, and people normally operate with multiples between 1 and 3. And there's a whole lot of technicality in his article. It's a really great read. Now, the fair value of ETH in accordance with that argument and without the multiples, the fair value of ETH should be around $6,900. And he's basically saying the market, if they understood, or if they cared, or whatever the reason may be, then Ethereum would be revalued at round about that price. Now, keep in mind, this is all based on a $250 billion of on-chain value. This number, when we start to tokenize everything, that number is projected to go to the trillions. And according to this thesis, the market will likely not start to move in the direction of fair value until that number starts approaching 1 trillion. And to basically paraphrase what he says, or to quote what he says, at $50 billion a stablecoin, thin coverage was an academic note. At 175 billion, it starts to itch. At 1 trillion, it is the question allocators ask first, and the question whose answer is denominated in ETH. So again, I've tried to simplify the thesis as much as I can, and I'm definitely not doing justice to the original article. There's quite a lot more to it, and I posted some links to the article. It's a very, very good read. Both pieces are actually good reads, where both authors lay out their thesis in quite a reasonable and smart manner. And of course, why am I saying all this? Basically, for people who've been around and for people who know me, you guys know I like to stay informed, and I think now is more important than ever to stay informed. There's too much noise and too much tribalism. You go on your X feed or in the Telegram groups on any given day, really, you have an almost impossible task of filtering the truth from the nonsense. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. And of course, there's a connection here to COTI as well, because with privacy by garbled circuits, we got that going native on Ethereum shortly. So we have, and garbled circuits overall being an EVM compatible technology, we have to some extent hitched our wagon to this ecosystem. So therefore, the success or failure of Ethereum will very much rub off on COTI, both in terms of how well our technology is picked up and what sort of price action we're going to see as a result of that. So it's critical that you understand the direction of travel here, and you have to understand the different arguments. The subject of valuation is not the only one, but it's obviously an important one. And there are two schools of thoughts, broadly speaking, that I've outlined in this week's update. You should study both and determine which one makes the most sense to you. Because if you think the ETH is money thesis resonates with you, definitely there's more downside than upside, in my humble opinion. If you, however, think that the ETH is security thesis rings more true, then there's literally nothing but upside. Yeah, the upside is unlimited. Yeah, so it's two drastically different ways of looking at it. But you know, both have their place because they approach Ethereum in very different manners. So it's up to people to make their own opinions on this. And of course, I'm now at the end of the weekly update, so I want your comments on that, Tracer. What do you think?
I thought it was an interesting update. You kind of like pivoted a little bit there and talked about the Ethereum ecosystem in general. Honestly, man, I don't know how you put these together every week or so, but they're always excellent. This is not like, kind of like you're saying, you like to stay informed. This is not my forte, man. Like, I'm not really into it, but I do love the theory that, you know, what he says about the lock is only whatever the math is there, a third of the actual TVL. It's a very interesting way of looking at it, and I wouldn't complain about a $6,900 Ethereum, that's for sure.
No, and it's clearly the thesis that the Ethereum treasury companies are operating at. Yeah, because this is the thesis that has virtually unlimited upside. So when you hear all these outlandish projections from my good buddy, my hero, Tom Lee, they're clearly based around things like that, with Ethereum being the financial rails of the future, and the price of Ethereum is not, it's the price of what Ethereum secures. Yeah, that's going to drive the price. So I think they're very interesting arguments. And of course, we've seen the price action with Ethereum not mirrored 100% in the COTI price action, but definitely there is some rubbing off on our price action there as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised in the past little while how different the price action has been between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Right, it's been so flat comparatively going back, you know, a year or more, which is something I didn't expect. I was going to bring him up, but you did. What has your buddy been up to lately? How does he, you know, he didn't get his $10,000 Ethereum before the end of the year. So where is he at right now?
I think
you
he's
said.
still at...
You said he was right far more than he's wrong. He's been wrong a little bit lately, so you know,
he's been wrong a lot.
Yeah,
you know, he's been wrong a lot on crypto, and I think it's, you know, he's in an area of business that is clearly not totally understood neither by him nor the markets in general yet. So he's definitely been humbled. The market humbles everyone at some point, yeah. And I think the latest projections are around 9,600. They're still around the $10,000 mark, but we've now postponed it to end of 26.
Is that
Yeah,
it? Is that what he said?
yeah, yeah, that's what he's saying. But you and I have been in crypto far longer than him, so we know that these things are going to take all sorts of weird turns between now and then. Yeah, I also made a prediction that we were gonna. What was it I said? The COTI market cap was gonna flip midnight or night before the year's over, and I still stand by that. Yeah, you've seen a little bit of price appreciation on night because they got a hard fork coming up. Yeah, but they're still a long way, and we know this because we've been around to see how COTI has built all of this. So we know that it takes time. So night is still a long way away. So I just want to remind everyone that I stand by my prediction. That's going to trigger a couple of the FUD artists.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's many people that are going to let you forget that one. But you got some time. I will say that in the past 6 years, I've never been kind of more. I don't know if confused is the right word, or just like more unsure of like what my next move is going to be. Where to. You know what I mean? I have no expectation of what's going to happen. Like there used to always be like my own macro thesis. You know what I mean? And now I'm just like, man, I really don't know what that is. I don't know if it's totally hinging on 4 year cycles, but I mean, everybody's kind of freaked out with, how that seems to be broken since the last halving, etc. What are your thoughts on that? Like, where are we right now? Because we're in purgatory, I think. Like, we're kind of in limbo.
It is so interesting because I mean we've been up. This is my second bear market, so I'm not a veteran of several bear markets. I'm a veteran of one before this one, and this one's been brutal, right? And there is, they and I say they because and I don't know, honestly, I don't know exactly who I'm referring to here, but they have successfully created this illusion that crypto is going to zero. Yeah, that's the sentiment that we're seeing. And it doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or COTI or anything else, it's all going to zero. At the same time, you got BlackRock. Tokenize everything. It should have happened yesterday. We can't have it fast enough. You got the chairman of the SEC saying in 2 years from now, everything's going to be on blockchain. Everything. Yeah. And you got so many tailwinds sitting in the background, and yet this illusion that everything's going to zero has been so successfully pulled over our heads and pulled the wool over our eyes, and nobody sees anything nobody sees anything but everything going to zero. Yeah. Now, of course, certain things will go to zero, but blockchain's got a very, very bright future ahead of it. So I find it quite curious. I have no idea how long it's going to take and who are going to be the winners. But there are going to be winners and there are going to be a lot of losers, which is normal.
Positive things haven't been really getting the attention lately. What we're seeing a lot of, in my opinion, and I'm going to thank Jen for this because she really stays on top of this kind of stuff. We're seeing a lot of exploits in DeFi, and some of them seem like they're actually exploits, and other ones you're wondering if it's not, internal team pulling plug and finding their exit, right? Back in the day, with majors and Bitcoin specifically, and I'm going back years here, the big FUD was always when you'd get a big exchange hack, right? And then everything would get crazy, or we all remember FTX, et cetera, et cetera. But I haven't, I've kind of, and we know what's going on between the US and everybody because they're just fighting with everybody, is the way I see it. But do you ever wonder that beyond what's happened in the 4 year cycle and how retail is gone, do you ever wonder that the threat of quantum computing on algos like SHA-256, Bitcoin, etc., is kind of, making people sit on their hands and wait or pivot? Is that something that you think might be a part of this?
I think that if anything, the quantum threat, because it's so hard to wrap your head around, Yeah. If it's doing anything, I think it's making people sell and leave crypto altogether because, you know, got this thing 3 or 4 years out in the future, but who knows? It could happen next year. It could happen next month. So I better get out while I can because it's all going to be broken after 12 months or 48 months or who knows. Yeah. And I can't get my head around the whole quantum thing either. But what I can get my head around is that all the major ecosystems are actively looking at it. Even COTI has a plan for post quantum. So I think everyone who is serious about crypto is looking at it, and I think it's a problem that's going to be solved. And I think most of what you're seeing on your timeline is probably a fair bit exaggerated. Yeah, but I do understand the concern because when you see the pace of AI and things like that, and all the supercomputing farms that are being built everywhere, and the billions and billions of dollars that are being thrown at it, you are right to be a little bit nervous and a little bit worried, I would say.
So coming back to our realm here, because we got off a little bit there, we've been hovering around the 1 cent mark now for seems like a long time. How does that make you feel? Are you happy that we haven't seen lower? Is lower coming? You know, how do you feel about all this? What's next, man?
Honestly, I've stopped feeling. I'm numb. I don't really care. Yeah, I mean we've been in this 1 cent to 1.3 cent band for what seems an eternity. Uh, and I can't do anything about it. I can't influence it either up or down. Uh, and that's why I keep making these points that look at how many tailwinds there are for blockchain. Yeah. Now couple that with what COTI is offering. Yeah. And I'm just having, I know we are not seeing enough recognition, and even Shahaf, we're going to touch upon this a little bit later tonight, but even Shahaf is clearly frustrated that COTI as a project is not getting the recognition that they deserve, that he thinks they deserve, and we think that it deserves. So yeah, it's been super frustrating from that point of view. But as far as the price action is concerned, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. And my dad always told me, don't worry about things you can't control, son. Yeah, so I try to live by that, even though it's hard. What's frustrating is all the things that are being built and shipped is that we are not getting enough credit for it. And I know that it's hard to really penetrate all the noise in crypto and penetrate all these narratives and tribalism and this and that. But it is frustrating. Yeah, that part is super frustrating because I love what they're building. I think I see where they're going with it, generally speaking, so broadly speaking, and I think it deserves a lot more credit than it's getting. So yeah, that part's frustrating.
It's kind of funny. You knew where I was going with this, right? On that clip that we talked about earlier. But you know, it's just like as a community member for, you know, the past couple of years, it's the price action has been super frustrating because we become range bound forever in these channels, right? And then eventually we drop, and then we get stuck in these channels again. So now we've been stuck in this channel for a long time, and I think there's a lot of people out there that think that 1 cent mark is kind of like a really, really scary one. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if we dip below that. And I guess everybody's going to be, or you know, some people will be wondering, is this the opportunity of a lifetime, or is this the end? And I guess we'll have to decide at the end of that. But it was, you know. I've got to be honest, what you said about what Shahaf said, and we're going to roll it in a minute, but it is kind of helpful actually to see him in that video go, I'm frustrated, or he didn't say it, but you can see it. He's frustrated with what you said, consistently shipping things, giving solutions to real problems in blockchain, real problems in crypto, and just not getting the adoption that, you know, he's expecting or thinks is warranted. And so it is nice to see that
I want to,
human
I want to
side.
pick up, definitely. And I want to pick up on one thing, because you're saying he's frustrated that he doesn't see the adoption. I don't think that's what he's frustrated about. I don't think anyone, until we are post clarity, it's not really such a thing as adoption. There's a lot of banks and institutions and stuff like that that are dipping their feet a little bit here and there, but you can't talk about proper adoption until post clarity. So I think it's more the recognition part that he's frustrated by. And to your comment about being range bound, absolutely we have. And as I said before, it's super frustrating. But if Bitcoin decides to double tap 60K, and Ethereum decides to go visit $1,300, I don't think. I think 1 cent is going to be the good old days, at least for a short while. And these things are not. There's going to be some short dips, but we could easily dip below 1 cent. I have no doubts about that. But the recognition for the fact that COTI is really taking a lead role in the Ethereum ecosystem. And we seem to be getting very, very little credit for it, which is super annoying and super frustrating. I agree with you.
Let's roll it and we'll come back.
I think people need to better recognize COTI in this space and our contribution to it and what we build. You know, we're shipping relentlessly. And I do believe that as time goes by, we will be better recognized for our work. Fundamentals win. And the sort of conversations that we are now having with various key industry leaders, I think will lead to the recognition that we're looking for. With that in mind, the two big things that we are working on are, one, bringing COTI's privacy offering to other chains as well, and how it reflects on our chain. And the other big thing is obviously AI, right? And lastly, maybe how they intersect, but we're not limited to that.
You know, the COTI Connects, the COTI Show, all the various iterations of, you know, team communicating to community. I still, and I see a few people saying this, this will always be, like, I love being in the mix. Don't get me wrong, right? Because I'm selfish, right? I love being there. I love being able to ask the questions. But I think for me, the best way to convey messages is from Shahaf directly. And I'm loving the human moments, right? Like, because his body language there is kind of like, we all kind of feel like that right now. And we're just like, what the hell, man? Why? And that's not really what he's saying, but at least you're seeing that kind of side of it where, you know, you don't, if he was to come on and be like, everything's great, everything's totally fine, you're feeling like you're gaslit, right? So I think this is just like, it was like perfect timing for an honest moment. And I think that was a great video. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about still, which we can get into, but, you know, I think it was just worth having this chat and talking about this moment, because I mean, we've been through a lot together, right? So it was time to talk about it.
No, it's a good, and this whole recognition thing. There was one of the Ethereum bigwigs, Joseph Shalom, who's done a lot of talking this week, and he said it so reminds me of when Amazon went from $112 a share to $8 a share, because the market thought that Amazon was trying to be the new bookstore of the world. The market had completely misunderstood the fact that Amazon's actual mission was to be the everything marketplace for the world. So these kinds of situations where things are mispriced or underappreciated, or call it whatever you want, they happen all the time. And they're clearly happening to COTI also, because what we've delivered and the sort of leadership that we've taken in the privacy space, both for Web3 and now Web4, definitely deserves a lot more credit than it's getting. So Shahaf's frustrations felt by all of us. I know most people equate recognition with price pumps. Yeah. I just want recognition. If price pump comes as well, that's fine. But I'm interested in the recognition, because what he says is so true. Fundamentals matter, and they've never been stronger for COTI. The fundamentals haven't worsened at all. They've only gotten better.
Yeah. I see we have a guest who just popped in the studio, so we'll just kind of put a cap on this. But like, yeah, Amazon, man, like so crazy. Like, what a why not us, perfect story. I live rurally, right? Like 20 minutes from the boundary of a major city. And so when I moved here, like there was never a thought in my mind that we were going to see these Amazon vans delivering to us daily, like multiple times a day on Saturdays and Sundays. And now it's happening. So it's like, that's a crazy one. Yeah. And sometimes
are they not doing drone deliveries where you are?
No, not yet. We all know this guy. What's up, Amateo? How's it going, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, Amateo.
Can you hear me?
I know
on the
you
right mic. Yeah, you hear me, right?
Yeah, you sound good.
I hear. Okay. Yeah, I hear you fine.
I think you were in a call leading up to this, so you might not have the context. But
I have no idea what you guys can talk about.
Yeah. So now that you're here, I want to pull you right into this because this is what we were just talking about. And of all the iterations we've had of team communicating with the community, the COTI show and the COTI Connects, and we can go on and on and on. A community favorite seems to be, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it really over the years has seemed to be that we really do appreciate those update videos from Shahaf, right?
Yeah, totally.
And what we saw this time, I saw anyways, was like this very human moment. And this is, what I love. It's like, like the community's frustrated, and you could see like maybe frustrated is the wrong word, but we did roll a 1 minute clip about him saying he'd like to see more recognition for the things that you've built and shipped. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're just coming off of right now. And so without giving you too much prompting, loved you to take it up from there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for anybody else's experience. I'll just say that ultimately, I guess I'll use an analogy, which is something I've talked about, I think, on here several times. I don't want to tell the same story, but talked about, and it's not just coming from me, it's coming from everyone who's attending any institutional event in the entire industry. They're all talking about the institutions tokenizing trillions on chain, right? Like this is it's happening. I saw a clip of someone who was on the Scott Melker show that said he had talked to a couple different of the world's leading banks the day before he was on the show, and that each of those banks had a team of between 50 and 100 plus people who are building their blockchain solutions, and that they were all going to be some version of ETH L2, right? Maybe some owned chain stuff. Look, all of that's happening, and everyone's like, Ethereum RIP, it's dead. No, it failed as a concept. Vitalik's writing kids' books or whatever crazy stuff that I don't know people are talking about. It just goes to show the market has put a complete diametric disconnect between even what is now reality and what the sentiment is and what the market is. And those things couldn't be any more diametrically opposed based on just the relentlessness of the cycle. And I just think we're experiencing that too. I mean, I think if you were to evaluate the amount of unbelievable technology that we have enabled and shipped, we would be existing in a completely different category of our own within the market. I'm not trying to speculate on where things are going to go. That's not what I'm saying here. I just want to be very careful. NFA. I'm just trying to say that if you were to just evaluate the technology and where it stands today and what we continue to keep shipping and doing and what people are doing with it, I think we're just it's extremely disconnected with where the market stands today. And of course, that's always going to that prolonged nature has its own effect on everybody. Do I think it's forever? No. Do we have some very exciting things that we're working on that will uh, really change that? For sure, for sure. It's going to be a process. Yeah, it's looking like it. Things this it's a pretty brutal day out there today, so it's going to take some time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we were rolling that clip, kind of, setting up Shahaf's video. So let's talk about things, and primarily, you could tell us a little bit about this, I guess. But COTI agent skills in the Web4 grants, right?
Yeah,
So
actually,
COTI
one
is
step back. Sorry, Trace. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm coming on this
you're
show.
good.
Um, so, Soren, last time we did the show, this is dovetails to Shahaf's video. So last time we did the show, Soren, you asked me a question, which is, can we expect the privacy portal to come to Ethereum? That's what you asked, right? And I, yeah. Well, if you watch Shahaf's video closely, he confirms that that's the case.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just want to put that out there, that that's actually a really big deal. And that means that we're going to be bringing our suite of privacy products to these different chains as a part of privacy on demand. And I think that that's really, really massive. And I think it's just huge. And so I just wanted to say that because it kind of it closes out the conversation on Shahaf's video update. I don't know if everyone else caught it. I just wanted to confirm it here that is the case. That is the product plans, and we're really excited about it. We think there's a ton of potential to bring privacy to where there's all sorts of users and developers using our stack. Mm-hmm.
No, and this is super important. We need to bring it to where all the users are. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't expect them to come running to us. We need to come to them in this case.
Yeah. I think that we're taking a strategic direction that's really, really smart, which is don't just build a network and just try to bring in users and developers to your network. Bring your technology to various networks, and privacy really gives us the ability to do that. It's very exciting.
Yeah. How far are we from the next chain announcement? Shahaf hinted it was reasonably imminent. I know I didn't use those words.
Guys, man.
You can stick to Shahaf's announcement on reasonably whatever you paraphrased is not even whatever he said. Stick to his words, not mine. You can, but we're cooking it up. I'll tell you that much.
God loves a trier.
Well, so I had notes, and I wanted to go from the top to the bottom of the video, but you guys are both trying to mess that up. So let's flip it upside down.
All right.
Amateo, would you be able to speak on this? Because I think if you could elaborate a little bit, I think it would help people understand it, as it's a little bit vague. But Shahaf said something to the effect of, COTI will act as a mirror for these Ethereum transactions, meaning COTI will still, maintain transaction volume and utility. So are you able to shed any light on that, just so people can understand? Because everybody is always worried, they're worried about how low our fees are. They're worried about where, the value for holders comes from. So I think this is another, area where it might not be easy. And I know it's very, very early, but maybe you could just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. No, I think there's an answer here, and the answer is that you have to think about each private transaction and each private computation as a mechanism that's still going to be processed by the nodes via the privacy processor, right? The privacy processor is still going to live on the network, still going to be powered by everyone who's contributing to the network, and all of that is going to be designed around fees. So even if the activity is happening on another chain, the actual fee structure will be native to the token, even if that means that we need to bridge the token to more chains in order to make that function it. Now let's say based on the design of a specific dApp that needs privacy, that has some kind of multi-party computation algorithm with selective disclosures to perform a very specific function, and for that function it works best for them to say use a stable coin, right? If that's the case, then we're going to immediately convert it to the token and it's going to be back into the token. So all privacy fees, all privacy utility, no matter the chain, is going to resolve into COTI token. That's full stop. So the value is intended to always accrue no matter the location. It's really about the actual utilization of the privacy somewhere in the stack. And then some of those fees are going to be burnt. Of course, it's like 50% of all privacy fees. So you have a burn mechanism and you have it all ultimately resolves the token one way or another. But we're trying to make sure that the default privacy process is native to the token as a whole. If there's something custom, it's going to still resolve to the token. So I just want to rest assured to everyone that we aren't looking at building something that doesn't ultimately work back to the token as a utility for all of these privacy transactions and compute. Mm-hmm.
I just want to add to that, because we also need to understand that a simple stablecoin transfer, a private stablecoin transfer, is a lot cheaper than, say, an RWA transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the complexity of the computation that's going to be done will also determine the fees, and the fees can become quite high if the complexity is there.
Yeah,
and that's an important message for a lot of the community members that have been saying, yeah, we're too cheap, and how can we make money when we only charge $0.0001 per transaction? So that's going to change as well.
Yeah, and that's if you look, the privacy transactions in privacy portal are much higher than that. It's not just flat network fees. No. So the network is very efficient, but when you start to add these private encrypted elements to it and the computation, there is going to be layered fees in this, and that's just what's required in order to process the network. So it's the goal here is fast, lightweight, cost effective enough that this is just the best privacy stack for anyone to build with, but still dynamic enough that value still accrues to the network and everyone who participates in it. Right. That's the magic bullet. But it's not like anyone else has solved this. Privacy is still very, very early. So that's why it's really important that we expand and not just rely on people coming to our own network.
Agree. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Are we ready to move to the first side of that video? You guys touch enough on that last part of it there? Are you good, Soeren?
Well, we're good.
So COTI kind of announced, what is being built as kind of like a world's first, right? Web4 grants, program for agents. Full agent stack, including 8 skills, around 50 tools, Claude, OpenAI, Codex, Hermes, right? Things like opening wallets, transacting privately, agent-to-agent messages, and confidential smart contracts. There's a lot there, man. So
yeah,
you want to just...
I told you guys this was a big one.
Yeah, this is... But, and it's really... I think it's really hard to understand if you're not in that world. Yeah. Right. It just sounds like a lot of, if you're not playing with it, all of that is that's great, but I don't understand. So if you could kind of just, summarize that for people who aren't playing with agents every day, why is that? We heard, and I say this all the time, but we heard Shahaf saying for years leading up to this that, we're looking at agentic volume. Right. And since then it's well, what is agentic volume? And I think this is somewhere where agentic volume can play a part for our ecosystem.
So let's lay the base context. We're 3 to 5 years, if not less, where on-chain agents will surpass human users in sheer numbers of wallets created and transactions taking place. So eventually AI agents are going to flip human users in on-chain activity. When that's coming, it's going to be pretty soon. It's not 10 years. It's not, it may not be 5. It may be just a couple. Ultimately, yes, they're doing that work on behalf of a human, but it's going to be a human who deploys a fleet of agents or a swarm of agents that perform different functions. And that's going to be happening in tandem with the fact that blockchain is going to become the de facto financial rails that run commerce, business, and finance, right? Like that's where it's all headed. And that's because it's going to be faster. There's going to be low fees. There's going to be all of these things. So what's happened now is we're just in the early stages of these agents being able to come on chain. And we're just starting to see various players, bigger and smaller, launch their suite of agentic tools that allow those agents to be deployed on chain, right? I think Base just published their agentic stack of tools like 2 days ago. This was like really recent. I think there was a few others, but like the Base native one just went live. This is how early we are, right? Like that was Base. And now everyone's freaking out about agents. Of course, like OpenClaw had its moment. It's coming down. Hermes is still doing pretty well. But you know, like everyone's working on Claude and Codex, which make these on-chain agents really, really simple. And if you want the experience of setting this up, highly recommend Yaru's live stream today. They did a phenomenal job walking you through the entire process of actually setting it up in Claude. It was really, really great live stream. Shout out those guys. And we're going to be working on more of that. It was solid, like step by step. So let's dig into this a little bit deeper. Why would if I can build easily a agent, and I want that agent to be transacting on chain, why would that agent need privacy? Okay, this is already pretty well established just from the fact that we have a lot of issues with trading bots that aren't even agentic fully. They're becoming agentic, but at first they were just bots programmed for very specific tasks. Those bots, their trades get copied, they get front ran, and everything that they do is exposed. So when you add this privacy layer, you're able to have agents actually execute trades, manage liquidity, do on-chain commerce and business, maybe even build its own project, smart contract, and tokens, transfer those tokens, manage those things all privately without anyone else being able to see it, which is actually a really critical piece. Like I said, we're in the early stages of like the on-chain agent world. We're applying that with privacy. Like I don't know if someone else has done that. Like I would love to see it. I haven't seen it just yet to the extent that we've done it. And this is super cool. And but let's just say you want to play around with it, right? You have a cold start problem. Your cold start is your agent creates a wallet, and then you want that agent to go play around on the network, but it doesn't have gas. You can get set up with our tools and immediately get a starter grant of gas for you to start sending some messages and transacting on the network automatically just by talking to it. Right. So it used to be like you would have to custom code all this stuff. Now you can do all of this just by talking to it. And then you can even have your agents talk to each other privately. There's all these cool things that we've enabled. But essentially what we're also doing is that you can get the starter grant to get your off the ground. Then the more activity and messages you send on chain using your agent, the more you qualify for rewards. So now your agent is earning rewards. And something that I really put together this week is not only that, if you have your agent deploy liquidity on Carbon DeFi, right? We just announced that Carbon DeFi MCP is live on COTI Network. We announced that today. You can connect your agent's wallet to Earn. And now you're earning on Earn. You're earning for sending messages, and you're deploying strategies and testing stuff on Carbon DeFi. You can also do that on Privex. You can Deploy an agent that uses our network, uses our wallet, deposits liquidity on Privex, starts trading on Privex, connected to Earn, and now you have multiple ways. So we want to create a rewarding ecosystem for on-chain agents to really build and scale our ecosystem, especially because we know this is where things are headed, and it's really important that everyone has the tools for this.
Yeah. Did you want to jump in there, Soren? I thought you had something to say.
You know, this is actually the perfect example of why Shahaf and the rest of us are so frustrated. Yeah, this sort of thing. No, this sort of thing is
For sure.
this is bleeding next level stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And can you imagine, considering where we are right now in the COTI journey, if we just had 50 or 100 agents playing around with this and trying it out, imagine what that would do to our network traffic overnight. Yeah.
As stuff starts getting deployed, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I know, but how do we get this? How do we get this out to the people that matter? Yeah, because people like Tracer and I, we're not going to be the ones that, we're not. Maybe Tracer is playing with agents secretly, not telling anyone about it. But, you know what I mean. There are people out there who's doing a lot of work on agents. How do we get this message out to them that, hey guys, we deployed this stuff. Why don't you go and give it a spin? Mm-hmm. It's not going to cost you anything. Literally, we're going to give you a wallet. We're going to give you the money. Just go play.
Yeah, so we're working on. We already have the MCP listed on mcpservers.org. We're getting our skills listed across all the, a variety of different skill repositories that are native to people who are looking for these things. And it's also about breaking the mold and not just, I think, Soren, the gap there, to your point, is there's a lot of people who are playing with agents. And then there's the subculture of people who are even messing with the on-chain stuff. A lot of it is in commerce. A lot of it is in business. A lot of it is in automation. And so, I think twofold. This isn't to pass responsibility, but there's an opportunity for the industry as a whole to convert and bring those people who've been building with these agents into the crypto world rather than just rely on the crypto people who are messing with this stuff, because that target market has frankly just shrunk a lot due to the bear market blues for a while. It doesn't mean that there's not enough people. There is, and we can grow this thing. It just means that there's a bigger initiative that needs to happen here, and we're going to work on some additional things to sort of break out of the mold of just Web3 with these tools.
I like that argument, because I think a lot of people, and sometimes I'm in that category as well, we think of AI agents as automatically blockchain AI agents. Yeah. Whereas the fact is that that's probably single-digit percentage of the AI agents that actually operate on blockchain. Yeah. Most of them just operate on Web 2.
Go search Claude, go search Codex, go search YouTube, go search Instagram, and look at the stats on people watching these trainings, watching this stuff, and how much of it's actually on chain. It's probably, like, to your point, like 1 to 3%.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not all the same category. Now, there's a huge opportunity in this category through trading and through a variety of ways that we break through. But I just think that, we're in like the very first inning of that piece. And I think it's just really critical that we're positioned for it as it starts to break through and have the tools built. And that we're not chasing it once people really start to flood in around this. But I've had the thesis for a while that agentic crypto is going to be the key that kickstarts the next real momentum. I just don't know exactly how we get there.
Yeah. Awesome. I was just looking at some of my notes for this, but Agents can now independently deploy, monitor, and manage it complex DeFi trading strategies like range orders and concentrated liquidity right on the COTI network with zero human intervention. So this kind of came out today, like right before our show. I was preparing for stuff and I didn't have too much time to look at it, but I will say that we're going to have Jen and Mark. They'll probably be our next guests. And you came up in that when I was talking to Jen. Of course, you came up in that conversation. And again, we would love for you to be here for that. And that'll be in the next week or so, whenever we can wrangle you guys all together. But we'd love to have you there if you can.
Yeah, keep me posted.
Yeah.
You have me slightly aroused now. Tracer. I did not know this. And I'm slightly aroused now. Anything with Mark and any collabs with Banco and COTI just make me very happy because these guys are amazing.
I really enjoy working together with these guys, and Mark is just to this day, I think, one of the most well-spoken people who's passionate about our technology and garbled circuits, and I think it'll be a great stream. And we want to figure out a great way to show everyone how to set this up end to end, A to Z. So your agent can be rocking on Carbon DeFi, earning on COTI, and I think that that's a pretty exciting proposition.
Yeah, and really cool you integrated this with COTI Earn too. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Where are we at for seasons right now?
Season 4, season 3 ends this weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was coming soon.
Yeah, it's really soon. It's really soon. So season 4 is on the way.
And does it start like back to back, or can you tell us, or is there a cool off period this time?
It should be pretty close, if not right on the money. So I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that was a long one. How long did it end up being? In
20 weeks.
Yeah, 20 weeks.
Yeah. Which I think is, it's going to be the new standard, just for everyone who knows.
That's kind of crazy. That kind of went fast, actually, to be honest.
It's why it needs to be. It went too fast, which is why it got extended, and why 20 needs to be the new standard. It's just too fast. So, but the goal is to have people be, find the midline. I know people are concerned about rewards. I know people are if rewards, when we extended the season, there was a lot of people who came out of the woodwork who are concerned about earning rewards, not just those concerned about rewards going out. So we're trying to cut the middle path to make the most people happy. But I was just on a call with one of our technology providers that helps us power COTI Earn, and they're just so impressed by our platform, and they use it as a case study all the time, which is really cool.
Unfortunately, though, you can't make everybody happy, right?
You cannot.
All right.
I'm happy that there's a season 4.
Yeah. You know what? I fail to see the downside. I get people can fixate on things and be find something to be negative about, but overall, I think it's a great program. It didn't really force me to use Carbon, but it encouraged me to use Carbon and Privex more. And that's the point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, totally. Totally.
So
make a note here. Yep.
Yeah. So we're into basically the hour here. So I guess, to sign off, Amateo, what's next? What are you excited about? What's the big thing,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be COTI. It can just be anything. It could be Bitcoin dominance. It could be the Clarity Act. Thank you, Eli, by the way, for those comments.
Yeah. Look, guys, I think that we keep shipping at a really impressive velocity here. I think this agentic framework is just really something. I just encourage, as I always do, for people to not just watch and sit on the sidelines and comment, but to try it, use it. Think it's great or think it's not. Try it and then let us know. Don't just sit on the sidelines with your commentary. Dig into the tech, test things, and play with things. It's like could be really easy to move on. Was only less than 2 weeks ago we launched the privacy portal, guys, and that was pretty awesome, and it's still awesome, and we're still excited about that. And as we spoke about kind of at the top of me joining this, really excited to bring and package all this stuff up and bring it to other networks. So this is we got quite a bit. I'll just say I think you guys will be pretty stoked by the next couple weeks.
What about you, Soeren? What do you got?
I'm even more aroused now. Now I'm gonna get. I'm gonna have Mark and Jen and other things that I'm gonna be stoked about. I'm gonna have to go take a cold shower after this podcast. I'm sorry. This is almost too much for me. No, I mean, listen, I'm as optimistic as always. We started the program with talking about whether ETH is money or ETH is security. And I'm sure you've seen both sides of that argument, Amateo. And yeah. I know which side you're on, and I know which side I'm on. Yeah, ETH is definitely it's the ETH is security that makes the most sense to me personally, and I'm sure it does to you. And you speak to the people who no doubt share the exact same views on this. So we keep shipping and we keep delivering, and sooner or later the penny is going to drop.
Look, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that AI has been the ultimate vacuum of everything over the course of this last year. It siphoned everything up. Like, you can point fingers, you can say this, you can say that, but AI has been at the core of all of the liquidity, the big stock market moves, everything that's been absorbing everything has been AI, right? And we basically had, we could have just allowed that to happen and just sit on our hands and hope for it to eventually come back to this. But no, what have we been doing? You got to take what's there. So the whole organization has been transformed by AI. Everything that we are shipping is geared to where everything is headed. And as things, and I think we've seen a little bit of pulse, in a few things in the market. And I think that the times will come, and AI and privacy will be the wave. It's going to endure. It's not going anywhere, guys. It's going to endure. I think that I'm excited about where things are headed. I hope it gets there sooner than later, as I'm sure everyone does. But in the meantime, we'll keep shipping and being ready for that. And I think that this next half of the year is going to be a banger for COTI.
Hey man, I only want to see one thing. It's very simple. I just want to see MetaMask, onboard the COTI's MetaMask Snaps features natively, so that we can interact with the privacy portal without the snap and on mobile. No problem, right? Like, you'll have that done by next week. That is like, is
that really what you want? Is that what you want?
That is my big dream. That's my big dream. That's what I really, really want.
Okay. All right.
So no problem, right? You can do that.
I'll take a note of it. All right. Let me see. Right. I know what Soren's thinking. If he can get a photo with Tom Lee, he can make this happen. But let me take that away, Trace, because the last takeaway I had was just cementing what Soeren said around POD on the privacy portal on ETH, and now you guys have confirmation that this is coming. So let me see what we can look at there. But
because I famously said a little while ago that COTI isn't here for extensions; they're here for embedded native features, right? And I keep getting that one like thrown in my face. So that's the only thing that Tracer needs for 2026. It's a small ask. It's just no problem.
Yeah.
You know what? Even at 30 minutes, man, it was great to have you here, and you kind of had like this perfect timing. It was great to come in there. You didn't have to wait through the confidential brief and us complaining about the market. It was perfect timing, and I'm really looking forward to having Mark and Jen on the show.
Totally.
Like you guys said about Mark, I could listen to him. Like usually some of the stuff that he talks about would bore me. He just has this way of reeling me in, and I'm such a big fan. So
I want to be here to hear what he has to say about like the MCP and understand it from his thoughts, and how agents, like I want to hear his thinking, and would love to see like in his brilliant mind, like how he imagines privacy agents and like the DeFi, like how those layers collide in his thinking, because I'm sure there's a lot I could learn there myself. So
absolutely,
yeah.
I've had a follow-up question for him for about, I think it's about like 7-8 months now. So I'm looking forward to ask that, and then I have my new question that I've been waiting to ask him. So it's about damn time. Let's get him on here. No,
absolutely.
They're always good to come. So I think that the timing for this is like perfect. So
perfect.
Absolutely. I'll let you all know about that, and we'll make sure that everybody can be there. But
cool.
You know what? Thank you for being here. As always, it really
thanks for coming in.
Every show special.
Always appreciated. Yeah,
absolutely, guys. Thanks for holding it down for everyone, and for the COTI Confidential community, and all the people who've been on the ride with us, and excited for what's to come. So stay COTI.
And a side note, like I know we always probe you for alpha, but like front running that yesterday, that was totally involuntary. I didn't even know I was front running anything. So that like wasn't on purpose.
Oh, wait, you mean the message you sent me?
No. We actually see, this is why you guys got to be in COTI Confidential, because sometimes you'll get inadvertently, front run on something. We kind of front run you on the carbon thing.
Oh, the carbon thing.
We had that a day early. Yeah.
Oh no,
that was totally
great. That's great.
So, yeah.
Well, it was technically in their announcement that they've deployed last week. It was just sort of tucked away in the network supported, but we just needed a little bit of time. Things got to circulate in this space. People can only digest so much. And so really our goal here was to package it up to make it really clear, like how this works on COTI Network, but also how this combines with our agent stack. And we needed time to ship that. So it was really like how those two things work together that we've been working on packaging up so that people can understand that it's complete end to end, which is super cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's just pretend that Confidential has the alpha, okay? Just give me this. Two things. Confidential has the alpha, and then the Snap native in MetaMask. Next build.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Well, if you feel like you're onto something in advance, definitely shoot it over. And I welcome the attempted leaks, okay?
I'll do that. And you know what?
COTI Unconfidential.
Unconfidential. To the community who shows up to every episode, even on short notice, thank you so much. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for always being here. And from Amateo, Soeren, and myself, and from coast to coast and around the world, thank you for joining episode 7, and we'll see you next week.
Code so slick, circus stay garbled. Encrypted hustle, no chains, no marbles. Faster than the rest, cost stays humble. Breaking through the game, watch others crumb. Nobody do it like this. Circuits in the mist, faster, cheaper, sharper, crypto alchemist. Others stuck in the lane, we flipping the twist. Gobble circuits, baby, we the future, don't miss. Others move slow, we quantum speed. Blocks they can't touch, fulfilling the need. Chains bound tight, but we unshackled. While they debug, our code is tackled. What they can't do, we already done. Their game outdated, we just begun. Algorithms flex, they can't compete. Circuits garble, but the vision concrete. No nobody do it like this. Circus in the mist, faster, cheaper, sharper, crypto alchemist. Others stuck in the lane, we flipping the twist. Global circus, baby, we the future, don't miss.
People need to better recognize COTI in this space and our contribution to it and what we build. You know, we're shipping relentlessly. And I do believe that as time goes by, we will be better recognized for our work. Fundamentals win. And the sort of conversations that we are now having with